Good afternoon, everyone. T-Speaker 222 XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XLM and Future Digibyte OG. So, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you for all the prayers for Julie. And like I always tell you guys, this is my solace. This is how I keep my mind from racing and doing what I got to do. You guys know I broke my back many, many years ago when I was only 23 years old, so 14 years ago in a car accident. And then after, a bunch of years of not being able to walk normal and all this other crap, got my way back into working in labor. For some stupid reason, I buried underground cable lines just to prove I could do it for 5 years. But then Julie got in her car accident, and it's kind of brought shit back, made it real. And she's had 3 surgeries, gonna have a 4th one in February to have the fusion and cadaver bones grafted into her own and all this other nonsense. Not nonsense, but stuff that she's got to deal with. So, why am I telling you all of this? Well, this is for the newcomers in the audience, and I want to tell you, everybody says, I wish I could do what you do on the charts. Well, let me tell you, you can. You just have to pay attention. Back in January of last year, so 17 months ago, about 17 months ago, I couldn't read a chart like this. I knew of a chart. I knew head and shoulder patterns. I knew all the stuff. The technical stuff that the people on here on YouTube would, pass off as being able to read a chart. I could do that. But what I couldn't do is I couldn't, break down and forecast and understand what I was seeing and how the volume relative to the strength and everything else and the ROI and all the crap that actually goes in it, the wick off and all this other crap. So I took it upon myself because I knew I had to stay home. And we had no money. And I was barely making it by as a laborer. And, we've got our 3 kids. Julie has 2, and then I've got mine with Julie. And the oldest is type 1 diabetic, so that's very expensive. So I taught myself how to read the charts, and in a very short amount of time, I changed our whole situation. It's been about 17, 18 months now, and we went from living in you guys know the story, we lived in a $20,000 trailer, and now we have a $215,000 house, and went from having pennies to dollars, to hundreds of dollars, to thousands of dollars, to tens of thousands of dollars. Now I want to have hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, you each, within yourselves, can do the same thing I have in such a short amount of time. It's going to take time. And yes, you're not going to be as good as I am on the charts, because I believe I am a guru on the charts, and that's not to brag. I just have a photographic memory. I see, in general, I see things in the abstract, so when I'm looking at a chart, it all comes together, and it makes it I recognize patterns, so it works out very well. So, with H-bar, we're consolidating again, and we're in a pennant. So, we're in a pennant flag, called a pennant flag. As long as you don't break down outside of this, you can have a bullish jump. But it's going to be very tricky, because if these break down outside the pennant, it's going to have a nice retrace down, and you're going to have to be aware of that. Or at least, if it breaks out of the pennant, you're coming down to 18.5 minimum for H-bar. So, 18.5 from 19.6, that's, starting to talk 6, 7, 8% now. Doge, still being a pesky little bitch, as Doge always is. Never makes it easy for your old T-Speaker. For your old friend T-Speaker 222, never makes it easy. But I believe when it breaks out of this pennant flag, because that's what it's in. But I also think it's in an inverse head and shoulders, guys. So if that's what it is, look at this. Follow me. Comes down, comes up to make this part is the head, comes down, taps this line, and then goes up. We'll have to see what happens. I think it could shoot way past, that line I put up too, the Batman. But I'm saying if it can just come up to like 23, even 22, it's 23 and a half. And then it might be able to do what I'm saying. It might be able to, and if it retraces to 16, and it was in that kind of a formation, oh, I'd be all over it. If this really isn't inverse head and shoulders like it looks like to me, it could be something big with those. And then we're going to end it on XRP. So I got to go back and deal with Julie's stuff, but I don't know. I guess I had to come rant for a second. See, I told you this is my solace, so I might help you, but each and every one of you help me as well. So XRP is very clearly right now, guys, in a pennant. It's formed it. Now the question is it going to break out of the pennant? And if we break out of the pennant, we've got it circled exactly where it's going to go, and it lines up perfectly with the pennant. Like I said yesterday, some of these are going to have to come to a finish. Like XRP technically doesn't have to come to an end of this pattern, according to the charts, until July 31st. But being on the top side of the pennant, it's going to have to break out one way or the other by July 29th, which is today. So even though this pattern goes, which means the chances are if it breaks down, it's going to come back within this rising channel, the rising support. And then you'd have to ask yourself, is it going to come up or is it going to break through the rising support? So you don't want to see it break down through the pennant flag. That's just what you don't want to see, it come back into the rising channel. Because if it does, you know, you have an immediate retrace that's going to happen, because it's not just going to come back in to test resistance. You're going to have to come back down to 66, 65 and hope it bounces off in that mid support of 65, which you guys have got awfully used to over the past few months. So that's exactly what I'm seeing. XLM, like we've been saying, extended pennant flag. It's not as clear as XRP, but it's there. And you want to break top side, because if you break bottom side, then you got to come back down to this low support of 20 cents. It's not just going to break through this, or 22 cents, I mean, it could technically go to, because it's got a rising channel. So you want these to break to the top side. Either way, guys, and I get this question all the time, we're going down, and if you got, I'll make a wager with everybody who doesn't want to join Tom's Army. If XRP gets under 40 cents again, you must join Tom's Army. Who takes that challenge? Because I guarantee you XRP will be below 40 cents before we hit all-time highs. Stay true, stay blessed.